Hi, I'm Chef Carol NYC. This video is part of a multi-part series on this particular product, which is the gum paste flower cutter set. Now, I'm sure there are many people who own this product who do not know how to use all of the pieces or create all of the flowers. In this series, I will cover every flower in this box, and at the end of the series, you should be able to have a beautiful centerpiece, beautiful decorations for a cake or bouquet or anything that you see fit. Remember that these gum paste flowers can be stored and kept for weeks, months, or years. Let's get to it. To make the Stephanotis flower, I will be using the following tools: a thick foam pad, a dusting pouch filled with cornstarch, gum glue, shortening, 9-inch roller with my forever rings at 1/16 of an inch, my water brush, a pair of needle nose pliers for bending the wires, a pair of wire cutters for cutting the floral wires, a spatula for lifting yellow dragées for the centers of the flowers, small thin modeling stick, thick modeling stick, floral wires of different sizes, preferably a 24 or 26 inch, veining tool, additional fondant tools for markings, pair of scissors, purple foam pad for shaping. I'll be using gum paste, and you can refer to my video on gum paste. I'll also be using green floral tape to wrap the floral wires, cutters, a pad to keep the petals moist, plungers, and I also have a video on plunger flowers that will show you how to use and put together the individual plungers. For this flower, we're going to be using the small blossom plunger and the hydrangea plunger. We're going to start out by using a ball of gum paste. I've used a small amount of shortening, and I'm just massaging this between my hands, and we're going to roll it out into about a 1-inch ball. I'm going to roll my gum paste. Now for this one, I'm using the gum paste that was made from the gum paste mix. It has held up pretty well. I've had it made for about 3 weeks. So I'm going to shape it into a gourd, and I'm going to take the bottom of that gourd and flatten it out on my mat. I'm going to take the thick modeling stick and roll out that bottom edge of the gourd into a thin, almost transparent shell. So you slowly keep going to the center and pulling the gum paste out from the center, making sure to leave that stem because that will be the base of the Stephanotis. If you'll notice, the mat is dusted, and that's just to keep the gum paste from sticking to the mat. I'm shaping the stem. I'm taking the gum paste cutter, large calyx cutter, giving it a little bit of a scrape, and I'm going to very gently peel the excess gum paste away from the cutter. Putting that back under the mat for later use. Now I'm just going to take my fingers and run it along the edge of the cutter to remove any excess and to make sure the points are clean, and press that out. I'm going to take my scissors now and just cut those tips away. For this particular flower, we won't be using those tips. So you want to cut them on a slight angle, following the design of the petal. I'm taking my firm pad and using the large modeling stick to just widen the petals slightly. So I'm going right up to the base of the stem and just very gently rolling the modeling stick across each petal to widen it just a bit. Now I'm going to take my firm pad and take my veining stick and just pull a floral vein down the middle of each petal. I'm going to dust my thin modeling stick and insert it into the center of my Stephanotis. And I'm going to very gently twist it down to the base of the stem. If the point comes through, it's okay. Now very gently remove the modeling stick. Set aside. Now take your fingers and very gently form the points on the Stephanotis. I'm forming mine sharply. Some people may bend them slightly. Every flower is different, so each of your Stephanotis flowers can have a slightly different shape because in nature, every one is an individual. I'm going to take my floral wire, and if you're new to using floral wire, you can refer back to my video on wired calla lilies. I'm taking my needle nose pliers and making a small hook. Now I'm going to use about 12 inches of floral tape. The floral tape has a sticky side and a dry side. Make sure you know which is which. So I'm putting the dry sides together, folding the tape in half. Then I'll fold it in half again. And I'm taking the scissors and cutting the floral tape in half. because it's too wide for what I need. Very carefully open the floral tape. Once it's open, you'll determine which is the sticky side once again. And you're going to take that floral tape on a slight angle and wrap it around the hook about 5 times. And now, as I've shown you in the calla lily tutorial, how to wrap your floral wire with the floral tape. So you're going to very gently hold it between your 2 fingers, pull it slightly to activate the glue, and you can roll it all the way to the end. Now you're going to take that floral wire tip, dip it into your gum glue, and insert it into the center of the Stephanotis. You already made the hole with the small modeling stick. Take your fingers and very gently press the gum paste to the stem. And I'm going to take a very small amount of gum glue around the center of the Stephanotis, and I'm going to place one of the yellow dragées, and I'm going to set that aside to dry. I'm using a Stephanotis that I made yesterday to apply a phalanx to the Stephanotis. Using the small blossom cutter, I've cut out a small petal. I'm putting the petal into one of the small holes on my thick foam pad. I'm taking my small modeling stick and just ever so slightly pushing it into the center of the hole. I'm going to put a little gum glue on the base of my dried Stephanotis. And now I'm going to feed it through the center of the newly created small blossom, and this will become the phalanx at the bottom of the Stephanotis. Now, it's not necessary to use this. You can actually just use petal dust to create it. And because this is a practice flower, I'm just leaving it white, but you can take a small amount of green and make your phalanx. So here I'm going to show you how I would petal dust color my Stephanotis. I'm going to start by dusting it with a white color dust. What you do to the front, you do to the back. Now, if you ever want to permanently set your dust, you can use a steamer, or you can have a pot of water available and just put these flowers over that steam for about 2 or 3 seconds, and that'll set the dust. I'm going to use yellow color dust to enhance the yellow dragée. And I'm also just going to use a little bit of the green just to create a slight variation. And I'm going to just take my brush and brush it off. These small flowers are great for adding to bouquets or clusters, and they also work very well as a standalone flower. You'll see them often in wedding bouquets. You can use them to decorate cupcakes, or you can use them also to make floral arrangements for your home. At the end of this tutorial series, you should have enough flowers to either decorate a beautiful cake or make a beautiful floral arrangement. So as you can see, I am using green petal dust to create the perception of a phalanx. I actually prefer just to use the green petal dust, but there may be times that you want to use a blossom to create that actual phalanx. That's why I've shown it to you. So very gently brush off the excess dust. If any of it is tinted on the flower, that's fine. It just makes it look more realistic. For this tutorial, I've made about 5 of these, and they will ultimately be featured in the last video. These flowers, if you preserve them properly, will last for weeks, months, or years. So as you can see here, I'm painting with the petal dust the phalanx that I made with the small blossom. You can paint it, or you can actually have just used green gum paste. Now I'm going to take my white petal dust, dust the flower. These flowers are very delicate, and they will break, so make sure you handle them very carefully. Once again, I'm using just a little green to go around my yellow dragée. And I'm just going to enhance it with yellow petal dust. Once again, just using a green petal dust for the phalanx. So I'm using the yellow petal dust to emphasize the veining lines, just to create a slight variation in this particular Stephanotis. Finishing it with white petal dust. Once all of the wired flowers are complete, I'm just taking the wired flowers and creating a sort of arrangement. So I've made a smaller Stephanotis using the wires to create a bouquet that holds itself together. You can use your own creativity to decide how you want these arranged. I would suggest that you probably make quite a few of these. As you can see, they're pretty simple to make. You have a couple of ways of creating them. You can either choose to create your phalanx using a small blossom cutter, or you can create your phalanx just using color dust. You can use your color dust to emphasize the centers. And so now I have a small bouquet that will appear in the last episode of this series. Here you have the Stephanotis. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.